breaking news just moments ago, White House advisor Peter Navarro making a claim about the markets. He says they are, quote, finding the bottom now, finding the bottom. It comes, of course, as the trade war has taken its biggest toll, perhaps, on some of, well, definitely on some of the biggest companies in America and on one of the most successful ones. Take a look at Apple. Company shares down about 20% over the past 3 trading days. So just when you look at Apple, that wipes out about $640 billion in market cap. It's a stunning number. Context around it the other day, we were saying, look, that's more than Walmart has ever been worth in its entire existence. It's the largest non-governmental employer in the United States, Walmart, and Apple has lost that value in a few days. Veteran tech analyst Dan Ives is here with me now. He says Apple right now is in the eye of the tariff storm, a Category 5 hurricane. Trump's tariffs likely to triple the price of an iPhone, according to his analysis, as Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick claims that this will all benefit American workers who will make those iPhones.
The armies of millions of people. Well, remember, the army of millions and millions of human beings screwing in little screws to make iPhones. That kind of thing is going to come to America. It's going to be automated, and great Americans, the trade craft of America, is going to fix them, is going to work on them.
All right, Dan Ives is out front now. He's the global head of tech research for Wedbush Securities. Dan, you've covered tech stocks on Wall Street for 25 years. That means you've been through the dot-com bubble, you've been through COVID, you've been through the Great Recession, you've been through the financial crisis, all of it. Here we are now. Have you seen anything like? No.
No, because it's self-inflicted. And in my opinion, it's an economic Armageddon, but especially for the tech industry. I mean, this would take the U.S. tech industry back a decade if these tariffs actually come through. And the reality is that it's all the hearts and lungs of the supply chain is in Asia. And that's why it's U.S. tech that's
So when Howard Lutnick says, as he said there to Margaret Brennan, the little screws to make iPhones, that kind of thing is going to come to America. It's going to be automated, and great Americans, the tradecraft of America, is going to fix them, is going to work on them.
That would be like me watching an NBA game being like, oh, it's easy to score a basket. The reality is it's the most complex supply chain in the world. And the way that they have 1.5 billion iPhones and they're able to make them at $1,000 is because of the supply chain that's really been built over the last decade. You build that in the US with a fab in West Virginia, New Jersey, there'll be $3,500 iPhones.
$3,500 iPhones.
And look, that is the true reality of saying it and doing it.
So let's lay this out. If you look at iPhone 16, iPhone 16 Pro Max, the prices you're paying now for the iPhone 16, $799. You know, what happens here to these things?
Well, first off, it would take Apple $30 billion in 3 years to move just 10% of the supply chain to the U.S.
$30 billion, 3 years to move 10% of the supply chain.
To move 10% of the supply chain.
Leaving 90% over there.
Leaving 90% over there. And for someone like myself that's traveled throughout Asia for decades, the reality of it, it's a fictional tale. And that's why I think you see what's happened to the stock, because no company is more caught up in this tariff, front and center in this Category 5 storm, than Cupertino and Apple, and that's the shame of it.
I mean, you look at you talk about traveling through Asia, and maybe this brings it home. We actually looked at a map to say, where does Apple make iPhones? You know, where in Asia? I mean, there are hundreds of manufacturing sites in China. We'll throw the map up. Hundreds of them. I mean, it is really stunning. I mean, we're just putting some of them there. Hundreds. I mean, this is actually about much more, as you point out, than cheap labor. I mean, this is massive infrastructure. Were you to transport it here?
But that's almost an impossibility, and that's why the stock is so. Because at the end of the day, the stocks they're not political. They know math and the reality. And when it comes to Apple, this would be, in my opinion, if this actually comes through, this would change the future of Apple, and that's what's so sad to some extent. As an American icon, you could have Beltway talking points, but this is the reality of it.
The reality on the ground. And also on that, and when we look at the stocks that have lost so much value, and obviously it's been the whole market, but that, what they call the Magnificent Seven, that it accounted for half of the growth last year in the S&P 500. They have plunged. They're in a bear market. On that list, Tesla. You've been one of the biggest fans for Tesla on Wall Street, but today you slashed your price target, which means where you think the stock is going to go by a massive amount, 40%.
I mean, two things. I mean, one, tariffs. I mean, that hurts Tesla, like every other automaker. And then China, that's been a core part of their demand story. And this is going to be more and more negative for them as they go up against domestic players. And we've talked about Musk. I mean, Tesla has become a political symbol globally. And that's been a very bad thing for not just stock in terms of unit sales and destruction. And we believe clock struck midnight for Musk. He basically is going to need to make the choice here. He cannot do this. And I think you've seen it in the stock in terms of reflected.
Well, maybe that's part of the reason he's been so aggressive on Peter Navarro in the past 24 hours. All right, Dan, it is good to see you, and thank you.
Great to be here.
All right, and next, the CEO from the world's largest money manager says it is no longer when the U.S. may enter a recession.
Most CEOs I talk to would say we are probably in a recession right now.
Right now.
Right now.
Plus, breaking news, the Supreme Court right now giving Trump the green light to use that 18th century wartime law to detain and deport migrants.